The next item on the calendar today is House Joint Resolution 745 by Representative Jones. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. To be quite honest, I'm a bit perplexed why a very simple honoring and memorializing resolution for a mother who was murdered was bumped off the consent calendar and sent to the Criminal Justice Subcommittee. But I think the only possible explanation is that members of this committee believe that the actions of the ICE officers who murdered Renee Good were criminal. That murder is a crime, and that's probably the reason it was sent to this committee. That's the only reason I can think of. Yesterday, Renee Good's brother testifying before Congress described his sister's actions in Minneapolis using a quote from J.R.R. Tolkien. Some believe it is only great power that can hold evil in check. But that is not what I have found. It is the small, everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keep the darkness at bay. Small acts of kindness and love. That is who Renee Good was. An ordinary person who took up the extraordinary task of protecting her community. Her little brother called her a light, the light that finds us on hard days. And she has not left us, not really. She continues in the resilience we didn't know we had until we needed it. That was her brother's quote. She leaves behind 3 children, age 15, 12, and 6, who now must go on without their mom. While the nation will move on to the next news story, their lives are forever altered. Renee was born in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and had only moved to Minnesota last year. But already she was a valued and ingrained part of the city. She was a poet and a writer, and neighbors talked about her as a beautiful part of their community, highlighting her warmth and kindness. Donna Ganger, her mother, described her as extremely compassionate and said she's taken care of people all her life. She was loving, forgiving, and affectionate. She was an amazing human being. Her father, Tim Ganger, told the Washington Post that she had a good life, but a hard life. Yet despite that, the federal government has attempted to smear her as an extremist and a domestic terrorist. Brazen lies meant to distract from the fact that she was a citizen exercising her right in a democracy to document and protest government abuse of power. Renee Good's life was stolen. Her murder recorded, her final moments captured frame by frame, and what we witnessed was not just horrific on a personal level. It rattled the conscience of this nation. Masked men, masked armed men backed by the United States government, carried out an execution on the streets of Minneapolis. They stole the life of a mother who, after dropping her child off at daycare, went out to ensure that her immigrant neighbors were safe, and that despite the fear-mongering and scapegoating, that they knew they were not alone. A small, everyday deed keeping the darkness at bay. Her death, officially declared a homicide by the coroner, is morally repugnant, and we have an obligation to speak up and recognize the truth. That is what this vote is ultimately about, justice through truth. So before you is a resolution that cannot take back the preventable tragedy that occurred in Minnesota on January 7th, 2026. It cannot stop the lawless terror in Minneapolis or protect our communities from rogue agents violating our civil liberties, destroying the Constitution, and committing acts of brutality in the name of public safety. It cannot stop the politics of cruelty and division or affirm the dignity of immigrants who make this nation great. But what it can do is show that truth is above politics and partisanship and pettiness. It can honor the work and life of an ordinary American woman who set out that day not to be a hero, but to keep the darkness at bay. What can we do to shine a light and allow Renee Good's legacy to live in the record of the House? We can pass on a message here to future generations, to her children and the children we turn this state and country over to, that in the midst of this chaos and misinformation and terror, we stood up for truth and dignity. What we can do here today is decide that life lived in service of others, that a life taken in the service of others, deserves our respect, and that the privilege of honoring such a life is ours. This is not about an issue of left or right. We vote every day on resolutions honoring people who were killed without controversy, without issue. And so I ask members of this committee to please consider this resolution and to be on the right side of history. Thank you.
Leader Lamberth.
Move previous question.
Previous questions called, seconded. There is objection, so we will be on the board for previous question. All those in favor of previous question will vote aye. Those that oppose will vote no. Does anyone wish to change your vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 6 ayes and 2 noes.
Previous question prevails. We're now voting to send House Joint Resolution 745 to full judiciary. Those in favor will vote aye on the board. Those opposed will vote no. Anyone wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 2 ayes and 6 noes.
The noes prevail. House Joint Resolution 745 fails. Yes, sir.
Point of order. I have no idea why this simple resolution honoring a brave murdered woman was sent to this criminal justice sub. So I guess I'm trying to get clarification why this was even sent to this committee. And if I could, I'd like to make a motion that we send this back to the full House.
I can't answer why it was sent back. I don't know if that fits within the point of order. That would be a procedure that was done on the floor. From my understanding, at any time, anyone can create a resolution to honor anyone and resubmit it through the proper channels to do so. So that does not mean that this resolution or any other resolution that honors anyone that goes through the body of the House would be absolutely done for the year. So any member can bring back a resolution to honor or recognize or memorialize anyone throughout our current process that we have according to House rules. Yes, sir.
So essentially, if someone was to refile this same resolution, it wouldn't necessarily be sent back to this subcommittee. Is that correct?
Unless someone on the House floor made a motion to send it back to this committee or another committee.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Representative Salinas.
If that what you just stated is true, it seems like we're just playing politics with this, and we're adding to the pain of a family that has already lost a lot. What's the point if another member can bring the same resolution and bring it through the same process? Why are we going through this? We are adding trauma. We are adding to the pain that not only this family's going through, our country, and everybody that calls the U.S. their home is going through. And to me, it's heartless, it's cruel. And I really don't understand why we come here every day. I come here to make sure that Tennessee is a better place. And things like this really sadden me for our country and for our state.
All right. Anyone else? Members, we are out of time. We had the room until 10:30 this morning. So all bills that were not heard today will be rolled to next week's calendar.